Course book is chapter number 8 at the high school. Mahatma Gandhi, the father of nation, shows the path of righteousness in his autobiography, My Experiments with Truth. Now let us read Gandhiji's life as a school student. I was not regarded as a dunce at the high school. I always enjoyed the affection of my teachers. Certificates of progress and character used to be sent to the parents every year. I never had a bad certificate. In fact, I even won prizes after I passed out of the second standard. In the 5th and 6th, I obtained scholarships of rupees 4 and 10 respectively, an achievement for which I have to thank good luck more than merit. For the scholarships were not open to all but reserved for best boys, amongst those coming from Surat division of Kachar ward. And in those days there could not have been many boys from Surat in a class of 40 to 50. Adumba ngasi akoina tamgadoriba para chapter number 8 akoi mamangda chapter 8 course book ki chapter 8 ki video lectures akoi laikhre adu makha tar koina ngasi tamgadoriba si mapungoina Mahatma Gandhi gi mahak ki angarngai gi punchiwari mahakna masani ijaba akoi autobiography My Experiments with Truth haibasigi lokthorukpa saruk khara akoina tamgani masida adumba ngasagi mahak father of nation haina mingthol piki ba misa sigi mana karamna righteousness ade achumbagi lambel da karamna lakthibagi habisi angang ringai digi mahak si adumba lambi da lakpra laktabra habidu akoi parasi kuthang da akoi khangba ngamani aduna hujek mahak ki angang ringai gi wari mahak masana panjaba akoi saruk khara hoji pakre angang ringai matamda mahak si masa na masabu yamna laik laichu haiba misa moin mahak logjarakti loinana ma akoi laik tambada khara sontak tawba don sarga dinga sagi slow learner ama oina ma ji haurai hana ma na phongdok chai adubu ma asagi sonna lag abusu oja kaya gi di ma si yamna achanba chhatra madum oiduna lai aduga ma chahi khudingi adumba mana school adugi phajaba lichat chatpagi school aduda phajaba lichat chatpagi ma certificates amadi oja sing dagi report mayumda adum chahi khudingi ma phangi aduga loinana hairiba mayam adu mathakta ma asagi akogi prizes kayamasu manamatum kayamasu adum ma phangaga lakhi haurai adugi charuwa moina mana class 5 amadi class 6 da mapum tamda marks scholarship su phangi lupa manga lupa mari amadi lupa tara mathang sinna ngasagi ma class akogi 5th class 5 dana lupa mari adu class 6 dana lupa tara gi scholarship phangduna marks adumba yam thoidongna ma masasi yamna haisingba satra ma oina mana haurakti hargasu adum manamatum kharade dum ma phangaga lakhi aduga mana phangkiba matamdasu mana kaidonungda mana haija singjabadagi phangmani haina mana sungan khalakide onana mana khanjai madudi punamaktu maki maraibuk phabadagi ni haina aduna ngasagi mana phangriba scholarship adusu mai motadi satra makhogi maikairomdagi sorat hairiba kathiawar-gi lam amagi saruktagi lakpa satra singda akhanana piba scholarship ni hairiba scholarship si angang masing yam laktabana marmoidina ma phangjabani ena mana admaina mana thajajai asumba masana masabu yamna tha wangna khalagadi lakhidaba misa amani makhatarabada hojemu paminasi. My own recollection is that I had not any high regard for my ability. I used to be astonished whenever I won prizes and scholarships, but I very jealously guarded my character. The least little blemish drew tears from my eyes. When I merited or seemed to the teacher to merit a rebuke, it was unbearable for me. I remember having once received corporal punishment. I did not so much mind the punishment as the fact that it was considered my desert. I wept piteously. That was when I was in the 1st and 2nd standard. There was another such incident during that time when I was in 7th standard. Dorabji Dulji Gimi was the headmaster then. He was popular among the boys as he was the disciplinarian, a man of method and a good teacher. He had made gymnastics and cricket compulsory for boys of upper standards. I disliked both. I never took part in any exercise, cricket or football, before they were made compulsory. My shyness was one of the reasons for this aloofness, which I see now was wrong. I then had the false notion that gymnastics had nothing to do with education. Today I knew that physical training should have as much place in the curriculum as mental training. Mahangna angang ngegi adumba thodok kaya ningsing jabagi matungina mana phongdok jabada ningsing jabada ngasai mak masana masabu yamna thodo hinongna mating magun leibani habisi ma kaidonungda khallaga lakhide aduna karigumba mana mathum phangba scholarship phangbo igera mamangda pankibasing adumna phangba matamda su ma se masa matumda pangakta ngakjaba astonish sai ngakpa pokchei aduga magna yam chekshinna loina jarak bahargadi maki character maki lamchar asidi magna yam chekshinna ma puraga laksaki the least little blemish adi yam pikpa dagina pikpa khogi adumba maral macha makhak mangonda ga hek sibirakpa natraga managa mara aran badu tawgiba man ba phibam adumba ga leiba matamde masi mamitagi mapi ga tajaba adumba yamna nungaijada ba phawba misam oina lakhi aduga magna ma angang ringai matamda asai oja amakhaki ma jairak amakhak akogi phangki madu mana phangki matamduda jairak adugi mana chaina adugi nabagi nataba chaina adugi chawba pikpagi mana nungaijadaba natabida mana jairak tu kari dong tu phangrino habagi maonda ningam jadaba aduna maram orga magse kaptana matam kayama lenjaki adumna ngasagi karigumba khajitang magi lamchata khaitang dak oininga ba khaitang mak lehogadaba oirabadi ma chiamna mapuning nuaijadaba adumna haurai aduna ngasagi thaudo amakhak mahana class 7 tamam tamda leikhi madudi maki headmaster matamdugi dorabji idulji gimi ko wamana makhoigi school da tamba mairoi ngasagi class awang ba thakta tamba mairoi singsi akhoigi sana khona basi saruk yadaba yaroi hadana tangai fade hadana magna akoigi yathang ama tholokbadagi asagi maki adumba angaurang matamda mana nuaijadaba thokdo ama thokhibai warisi magna pale maramdi mana asagi hairi masana singasi oja sina sanadaba yaroi tratraga saruk yadaba yaroi na hairak tringai mamangda magdi masana singasi thoyona khoidaраktaba sana khonabada magsi thawai yaruktaba miyama oirakpana magsi sanabada sungaw yarukte mana sanaba yarukitabai maramsisu mana panjabagi matungina ma yam ikai thiba mama yam sonba ama oirakbana mayam marak tillaga mana sanajabadu ikaiba hangoijabadu mase sanabada saru yarukidabani aduga loinana mana matamda khanjakiba aranba wakhalama mana yoktuna leikiba wakhalamana karino haragadi sanaba basiga mai masing tamba siga kanaida mari leina duino haina mana mari leina fam thokti ena mana khanjaba amasuma lakhi adubu ngasi ngasimak ma hujikti ma bhab oire mana chaurkanda mana autobiography se ijaram matam asidadi mana bhab oire madudi sanaba ngasai sana khonaba siga mahimasing tamba siga adugamatik yamna nangnaba mari leinai habisi mana phongdokli makhatarabada I may mention however that I was none the worse for abstaining from exercise. That was because I had read in books about the benefits of long walks in open air, and having lacked the advice, I had formed a habit of taking walks which has still remained with me. These walks gave me a fairly hardy constitution. Mahangna matang asida paningi madudi mag masama sana khonabada yamna thawai yawa misam oirakti harisu masa mau tik tik law the bar natraga masa tinjang gaijang bahabidi ma oirakti harimana phongdokli masi mana masasi tik tik launa lerakpai maram si mana palli madudi akoigi mana karigumba matamda mana pajagi ba larik singi manungda akoigi walking sang na chatpana hakjang afaba oi habisi hakjang afaba oi habisi mana larik ta pajagi ba thengna jagi budagi mana walking chatpagi hainabi amadi ma yam ngalingai angaurngai matamda ma se adum thamduna lakhi adumangna ngasagi mai masasi tik tik launa ngasagi akoigi yamna tinjang gaijang ba yamna pepe nagan ba adumba oidaba misamani hainmana phongdokchari. The reason of my dislike for gymnastics was my keen desire to serve as nurse to my father. As soon as the school closed, I would hurry home and begin serving him. Compulsory exercise came directly in the way of this service. I requested Mr. Gimme to exempt from gymnastics so that I might be freed to serve my father, but he would not listen to me. Now it so happened that one Saturday when we had school in the morning, I had to go from home to the school for gymnastics at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I had no watch and the clouds deceived me. Before I reached the school, the boys had all left. The next day, Mr. Gimme, examining the roll, found me marked absent. Being asked the reason for absence, I told him what had happened. He refused to believe me and ordered me to pay a fine of 1 or 2 annas. I cannot now recall how much. Mahagna ngasagi mamang da pankre madudi sana khona bismak thawai yaudi pamde haidana. Aduga atopa maram amana mana ngasagi gymnastics makhoi yo school yo jaduna akhoi gi sana khona basi tangai fadaba saruk yada yada ba man ni ana laukthokra matungda mana yaugidabagi yauningidabagi maram amana mana school hek halakpaga magi mama magi mapada mana tawjaba seba maduda akai oiradra maduda apan mathodra haidana mana madugi damukta magi matam madugi headmaster hojiki Abdul Gimi haibaduda haijaki ma sumaina ai ipagi seba tongningai oibana maram oiduna ai class hek loibaga ai adum hanjaki ge ai sana khona basdei saru yajararo ena mana haijarubada ojaduna yarakidre adumna ngasai ojaduga maka yanadaba amaka leinakiba adugi matungda mana marai thiba thodo ama sum tho haidana noma ngasai makhoi school asina ayukta class tawthokraga exercise ngasai gymnastics sibuna ngasai nungthilda adumak tawbagi numit amakak thomi haiba numit asida makti ngasai lechil nongphai thangje mana maram oiduna mak pungsi kaya hokrage habese mak masagi oyo ghari amasu leijadabana makti madu khanghawdaduna mana charpa matamda mayam loinamak akoigi mafam aduda amta tilamdre leramdre adu mathangi numitadi mana school chalu matamda maki attendance to absent thara lerame madugi absent thabaduda maki oja headmaster aduna maram hanglakpada mana asengba wari du mana tamjarabasu oja aduna maki pawda madu thajabiramdre madugi thajadabagi mathakta mangonda magna absent obagi dawta makpu fine thinanaba hairaglami madugi fine adu mag tangdangba masingdi kaure ana ama natraga ani oiramba yai hadana mana phongdogli. I was convicted of lying. That deeply pained me. How was I to prove my innocence? There was no way. I cried in deep anguish. I saw that a man of truth must also be a man of care. This was the first and the last instance of my carelessness in school. I have a faint recollection that I finally succeeded in getting the fine remitted. The exemption from the exercise was of course obtained, as my father wrote himself to the headmaster saying that he wanted me at home after school. Mahakna ngasai thawdo aduda mana yamna nungaitaba phawjaba maramdi mahak adumba oidaba ngangdrabasu ojadugi mit yengdadi mahak oidaba ngangbagi adumba maral ama ma phange maral ama thonjinbire aduna thangjinbirabani na mahak madugi yam nungaitaba magonda yamna thamo shokhiba amakak mana phongdoli magi maral leijade habese ma mataw karamna utkadagi natraga praman tawdagi habese madui pambai chunglai leiramde aduna ma numitu mama yamna mathumo shokna kapcharame aduga loina magna paramadi tamhaure madudi achumba chatpa miyoiba khudingmakse aidi achumba ta chalibani haidina yamna thawoiba hoidana iting tingna leibadi yade makoisu matam chupada yam chekshinba ngasai mak masamana landragsu ma aranmai khongphomda leikibado madu mana chekshin jahudabdai thokibani habis mana bhab oiraga miyoiba habise chekshin basisu tangai fade habis mana khangawi madugi matung tarakpada ma chekshin dabadagi adum maral shivninga ba chaira khoninga ba thodok amatta school da lekhidre aduga mana yamna wauri fan recollection adi mana pura mayek sengna di ningsang ma thokdre adubu asai mana khara bhab ohobadadi ma ki fine sagi oja aduna anna ani amani thiyo na have fine do thi di thian ki de ana mana ningsangi aduga makata na ngasai school adugi class like tamba loiraga sana khonabagi compulsory class ma thamba dusu ma ki mapana sithi ma iraga headmaster masadu da ngasai isa si yahon biranu habedagi ma adusu adum yaukidre But though I was none the worse for having neglected exercise, I am still paying the penalty of another neglect. I do not know whence I got the notion that good handwriting was not a necessary part of education, but I retained it until I went to England. When later, especially in South Africa, I saw the beautiful handwriting of lawyers and young men born and educated in South Africa, I was ashamed of myself and repented of my neglect. I saw that bad handwriting should be regarded as a sign of an imperfect education. Mahakna ngasagi sana khona ba school da ngasagi like tamba loiraga yaw khidrabasu mahak yonadi mahakna yam sana walking chachabagi hainabi laikibana masada thudongna songninga ba masa soninga ba dima laikide adubu mahakna angang ngai matamda cheksil lodaba mahakna thoi boy rakhidaba amakak mahakna makhata na pali madudi mahaki kui mahaki handwriting ase masi ajugi matik thi hairiba kui thi basina mahi masing tambaga thoidongna mari leina de ena ma asagi sana khona bada mari leina de ena khalubugum asimasu mana admaina thoi rakhidabagi matang amakak mahakna pali mahakna karamba mikupta karamba wakhaldagi ma laikibano yokhibano di khanghaudre adubu mahi masing tambaga natraga lai lai su yam haibaga khui phajabaga di kasu thoina mari leina de ena ma khallaga di lakhi adu gi wakhal adu man England da man asagi akoi ukil dam chatpa matam adu da so dum ma adu wakhal dum leiramme ba ma haibadi mahi masing tambaga khui phajabaga mari leina de haidana adubu magna Africa da magna lawyer mo practice tawbagi lairakpa matam dadi Africa da lairamba ukil kaya amadi ngasagi naha inkhalak leba kaya sing adugi makhui do adugi matik ningthijaba phajabado uruba mikupta magna bhab oirei madudi miyoibagi mahi masing mapung pha ba base khui phajabasu saruk amani habase magna khalakhi aduga loinana mahak masamaki khui phajajadabadugi mak seksil hodabadagi thoi wai khidabadagi oikhibadagi ma yamna ningamdaba pendaba ma polakhi aduna mahakna asagi madubu amuk phagalaknaba makhuidu phajananaba kayarak honajaki adubu ma matam thengibana kaisu thoidokpa improvement leiba ngamkhidre aduna mahakna naha oingaida pangthokiba tawkiba asoibadugi mahak fall mana chawr kanda madu thengnare mayoknare aduna mahakna makhatare madudi I tried later to improve mine, but it was too late. I could never repair the neglect of my youth. Let every young man and woman be warned by my example and understand that good handwriting is a necessary part of education. I am now of opinion that children should first be taught the art of drawing before learning how to write. Let the child learn his letters by observation as he does different objects such as flowers, birds, etc. And let him learn handwriting only after he has learned to draw objects. He will then write a beautifully formed hand. Mama sama ke wenadi mahan angaw ngai mikupta makhui phajahudabduna mak chawraga su mana phajaninge phajaba pame hakana su phajaba ngamjakidabna maram oiduna ma mangondagi akhoina asagi para tamlaga magna asagi akhoida para ma maon akhoida piboina asagi mana phongdogri madudi khui phajada bhabase mai masing mapung phadabu kawi aduna mairoi kudimak inkhalak liba narol kudimak makhui phajanana ba soidana maki honagadabani habase magna palli makhatana magna angang amana makhui karamna phajahangadage habasigi matang dusmana phongdokli madudi asagi angang sing ase mayek iba tambidringaida mayek si gi mahutta magna yeningba any object yekhanbagi maonda ayaba maonda khudongcha pibiraga ngasagi angang si payekta yehalaba matungda kona matau tamba habase hapchilaga mayek chingdo mukona akogi tambiragadabani haidana magna adumna phongdokli. Two more reminiscences of my school days are worth recording. I had lost 1 year because of my marriage, and the teacher wanted me to make good the loss by skipping a class, a privilege usually allowed to industrious boys. I therefore had only 6 months in the 3rd standard, and I was promoted to 4th after the examinations, which are followed by the summer vacation. Magna angaroi thodo ani khakamana panbayaba ani khakamana phongdokli amadi ngasagi mana angang oina ngasagi mayum panbagi thoram laikibana mayum pankibana ngasagi ma like Tambada, Mapung Fan and Ningtizana Tamba Pangodre. Adubu Maxi, Ozaching Yam Achan, but Satram or Kibana, Ozaching Aduna Maxi, like Mapung Fan Tamgidra Magi class, Adubu Kalaga, Matangi class, Adumak Adum, Makahalame. Have the Maxi class 3 Tamamatamda, Mapung Fana, Ma Tamangam Gidre, Madam di Maki Luhomba, like Hivana. Adubu Maxi Ozaduna, Ma. Tazabi Bedagi Maziam, Tawayaba, Honabakanma, Satrani, Mahiroini, Hydramasi class 4 Chongangre. Aduna Mahoji class 3 Amadi 4 Gilairixi, Mapungi Papadana, Aduma Tamdore. Hairiba, Tamamatam Damana, Mayonarba, Kudongcha, the Bamaki, Awabasing, Dumakata, Vesidakoi, Tenarani. English became the medium of instruction in most subjects from the 4th standard. Class 4 dagi di mahana tamgodoriba lairi khudima se English ki mayek amadi English ki marol da loinamak tamba tarame. I found myself completely at sea di mag gyan chungta taramdre haina mana phongdoli. Geometry was a new subject in which I was not particularly strong, and the English medium made it still more difficult for me. Aduga geometry angka gi saru asimadi mag gyan chungta taramdre aduga Mapungoina so ngasai English the tambiba English the even a marmoidna sumase chungta tabangam kitabani. The teacher taught the subject very well, but I could not follow him. Ojaduna di phajana ningtijana mahonda makoi class to takcha bajani adubuma madui matung innama khangbadi kaimda ngamlamdre hairame phongdoi. Often I would lose heart and think of going back to the 3rd standard. Mana toina khanjema aibu class 4 da jana chonhan biri se toktho class 3 da mo hanjila tamasira ne mana toina hek ma ninghana ba phawra ami feeling that the packing of 2 years studies into a single year was too ambitious. Mana sahi class 3 da chahiye ma class 4 da chahiye ma punna chahi ani changna tamgada dubu mana sumnagi Tha try toy, say a Makatang, the animal tamjin by the Masi, Kara Henman Labara and Mana Kayumatam, the Hek, Ninganar, Porgumatam, the Mana, Wakalsi Lak with the Gay. We talk to a gay kind of my heck, Kalakbayawi. But Adubu, this would discredit not only me but also the teacher, because counting on my industry, he had recommended my promotion. Madumna Taurabadi, Maduda, Masagi, Ikai Nangadurivasi, Kanakana no higher the Mahamasama Amadima, Pubata Mungam Dabdagi, the saying of my teacher, Hairama, Ikai Nanglagavani, Alubu Mark, the Nati, Maduda Ikai Nangadurisi, Mangon de Yam Chow, Tazava, Tamjaki Ozado, Adugisu, Mamai Kuba, Oivatari, Habisima, Kalakwamikuptagi, Sagima, Hairiba, Doktoga class of Mohanjime Wakalasimak Tadokivani. So the fear of the double discredit kept me at my post. When, however, with much effort, I reached the 13th proposition of Euclid, the utter simplicity of the subject was suddenly revealed to me. A subject which only required a pure and simple use of one's reasoning powers could not be difficult. Ever since that time, geometry has been both easy and interesting to me. Adum ngasagi ozama di ma ikai benangani ngasagi mamai khurani ngasagi phasdaba loina thoni ana khalakba de ma si mang masana tamjariba class adumakta adum makhata na tamjarege na ma si chabyuna lep khre makhata na tamlakbudugi matung oina ngasagi ma hona daya dabrina sum kan honarakbuduna mahang na ngasagi bara akogi traum du shuba Euclid ki parasi yorko matamdadi mahang ngasagi geometry da angka da y na torambadu Make Shane Maganta Haurami. Adudagi Mana Babu the Anka Haivase, Wakal Kanmagitai for the Belay, Wakal Pazana Nium Chumna Kalabadi, Anka Havase, Irai Libai, Hydramana, Madui Matung Dagi, Ma geometry, Yamnunga Sabjama Mago and Oiraki. Atopa Maki Angan, Todo, Huzikiman and Chening Abba, Ani have the Manunda, Huziki, geometry, Havagi, Masil Oire, Anisubana. My experiment with truth, Man, Achumba. Lambel Karamna Laki, Bugay, Habiduki Maki, Masamana, my Tenazarapa experience, Maduma Kozi Makata Paminasi. Sanskrit, however, proved a harder task. In geometry, there was nothing to memorize, whereas in Sanskrit, I thought everything had to be learned by heart. Mag Anka Tambadima Mana. Kan honazabadagi mana makok sizinaraga wakal khalaga hotbadagi ma anka di laigre anka di magi yamnu nungaiba subject oigrab adubu Sanskrit haiba sidi anka gumna ngasai wakal khalaga para paba hotpa yaba oiramdre Sanskrit ko nadi punamak se chimpa pudaba yadaba oiramme aduna mangonda yamna awaba ma mayongnarme. This subject was also commenced for the 4th standard. Higher subject is man class 4 karo matamda yauropa subject oirame. As soon as I entered the 6th, I became disheartened. Mana class 6 yauropa matamda di ma aduki matik ningba kairam le. The teacher was a hard task master, anxious as I thought to force the boys. Oza adusu yamna masagi adumba sathiba angangsing adu yam thona hainingba langtaknaba khoirangnaba adumba oza adusu yamna mabuk tappa ing tappa khoigi yamna patience leiba ngaira angangsing asi hainanaba honaba nataba yam thuna angangsing asidagi results pamba yam hainingba oza ma oiramme. There was a sort of rivalry going on between the Sanskrit and the Persian teachers. Aduga matamaduda ngasagi Sanskrit takpo oza amadi Persian loan takpo oza adugi ani du maraktasu nuksinadaba amadi leiramme. The Persian teacher was lenient. Adumba Persian loan takpo oza adudi yamna mawung pau harami haba. The boy used to talk among themselves that Persian was very easy, and the Persian teacher was very good and considerate to the teachers. To the students. Satra singna moi chibon ngangna bada ngasai moi Persian loan tambiri ba oza adudi mabuk chu phai adagi like su yam phajana tai akoi gyan phajana tai haidra mayam si akoi nimpu ngangna rami. The easiness tempted me, and one day I sat in the Persian class. Adugi nungai ba ngasai gi yam mabuk phaba ngasai mayam ngangna budu tarak budagi aisu class 2 hojiki Persian loan gi class toina aisu noma phamure. The Sanskrit teacher was grieved. Madu ubada madu ithodoktu thengna bada Sanskrit ki ozadu adugamatik nuaitaba pome. He called me to his side and said, "How can you forget that you are the son of Vaishnava father? Want to learn the language of your own religion? If you have any difficulty, why not come to me? I want to teach you students Sanskrit to the best of my ability. As you proceed further, you will find in it things of absorbing interest." Masagi magna ozadu Sanskrit ozadu de yam sathiba adegi paradu mana gyan taba ngamdabdagi mana Persian loan gi ozadu class the phamure. Madu tabada madu ubada oza Sanskrit ozadu su ningma kaire mathai nuaitre. Aduna ozadu noma magpu kauthoga phajana magna wari sarami madudi nahana karigidamuk tebungo nagi lining laison ga mari lemba nangi namalon asigi di tamge haidraga nana karigidamukta atopa lon asida nana thawai yauribno nangna taseng namaki khangde haiti haragadi nang oza ingonda laaga nang tanaraga aibani kamai tawdage haidna khanaramba yadabra nang adugi mongdu nungaite haibra chingba oza adugi ngasagi wakhalon khara maonda hairakbadagi ngasagi maksi akhoi ozaadugi nungaitabudda maksu muk nungaitaba muk pokpa haurami aduga loinana ozaaduna su monda makhata na hairami madudi para haisdi wo nangna sum tamaga tamna sum hena sum nungairkadabani nangna nomada nini da hekta khangai hebesu yagadaba nati haidana ozaaduna monda yam nuksina mabu konjinbiraga ngasagi magi wakhalona dubu konjinbiraga mana phongdorokbadu tabada ngasagi Maonda yamna nuaitaba phore Maonda realization amakak lai Mahatma Gandhi da. You should not lose heart. Come and sit again in Sanskrit class. Makata na ozaduna su nang ningba ninghanaba tawgono ibungo adugi mahota nang se mathangdadi aigi class da phamgodabani hadna ozaduna su Maonda phajana haibirami. This kindness put me to shame. Ozaduna yamna mawukchen chawna ngasagi mawuk fana pamom tik thorokpadu ubada nadu tabada thengnabada markse adugumatik ikaiba pome. I could not disregard my teacher's affection. Oza singna mahakpu nungsibiba mahakpu luna tawbibaduma madu ikai khumnaba uttabadi mangonda lewamsa tadaba oirani anama khalami. Today I cannot but think with gratitude of Krishna Shankar Pandya, for if I had not acquired the little Sanskrit that I learned then, I should have found it difficult to take any interest in our sacred books. In fact, I deeply regret that I was not able to acquire a more thorough knowledge of the language, because I have since realized that every Hindu boy and girl should possess sound Sanskrit learning. Oza aduna ngasai gi monda nang phajana ibungo tammaga phammaga class da yawraga sum hairakadabani haibadagi maksi oja dubu mana kawbu ngamdana ngasagi mana oja dugi laman tonjabadu mana phongdokli madudi mana ngasi mak Sanskrit ki akoigi lairi khara para khara mana ga haijaba ngamliba paba ngamjaribase matamadu da oja duna ngasagi makpu nungshibiduna Sanskrit tamankhibaduna ma ngamkhibani haina mana phongdokli aduga mahakna ngasagi akoigi makhata na mana atopa Sanskrit kilam da yam thoido hendona haija hodabado adugi ma ningam da busuma phawi aduna mana makhata bada mana piningiba message pautakti Hindu oina pobadi Hindu gi adumba yamna senglaba lon Sanskrit asidi mipung khudimangna tambagi tangai phadaba lei hana mana phongdokli. It is now my opinion that in all Indian curricula of higher education there should be a place for Hindi, Sanskrit, Persian, Arabic and English. Besides, of course, the vernacular. Adu makhata na mana mod ama phongdokli madudi asagi akhoi adumba Indian education da India gi mahi masing tambagi lamda akhoi class awang musing da akhoi gi loan khudimaki parasi loinamak tamhangadabani haidana mana piri khudamoina se Hindi loan obi Sanskrit loan obi Persian loan obi Arabic loan obi English loan obi haiba loan chinga se masagi mama loan vernacular hargadi mama loan adu mathakta loinamak tamhanmagi khudong chaba pigadabani haina mana mod piri phongdokli. This big list need not frighten anyone. Mahana loan khodimak haire haiduna ngasagi akhoi thoidongna kiningai oide. If our education were more systematic and the boy is free from the burden of having to learn their subject through a foreign medium, I am sure learning all this language would not be an irksome task but a perfect pleasure. A scientific knowledge of one language makes a knowledge of other language comparatively easy. Aduna ngasagi class awang musingda khogi loan khudimaksi tambagi khudongchaba thambigadabani ena mana mod phongdokbasida loan khudimak haibasida mayamna kaisu thoidona kiningai oide maramdi loan haibasi sizinaraga hena akoigi khuloiragadaba oibana mana masi atopa akoina tamjari parasing asida migi loan English ta tamlagadi akoi kaisu haibangam loi akoigi loan isagi loan da mai masing je akoi tamjarabadi natraga akoi lamda masda leiriba loan kaya khenaba kaya leiribasi asigi loan sida dum tamlabadi akoi soidana ki loan ju hegani paraju hena mamutana khangmangamgani haina mana mod phongdokli aduga asai akoina loan kayam tambagi obi aina targana para ruba kayam tambagi akoida awaba mayuna gadra haina khalam basingdo adusu yamna nungaiba like tambada nungaiba ma oigani haina mana mod phongdokli aduga loinana mana palli madudi loan ama bu hairabadi atopa loan ama su adum irai laina haiba ngamgani maramdi loan ama hainanabagi formula natraga methodology dudi atopa loan ama hainanabagi matamdasu honaba matamdasu chap manana adumak changani haina mana mod phongdoli ado sumna asagi Mahatma Gandhi gi akoi punsi wari da yumpham oiba chapter asisu loisile.